So welcome once again everyone at home as well as here in our center. My name is Berit Stopper. I'm the director of the DAAD Information Center here in Accra, and we are holding our monthly introductory session on study and research opportunities today, not only here as a present workshop but also online as a webinar, because we would like to reach more students in Ghana that cannot make it actually to Accra. So welcome to our webinar. I will already get into the topic. I hope everyone at home can also hear us. Just one formality, if you have questions at the end, of course you can just ask us. Those ones at home, please type them in and then we will also answer them at the end of the presentation. So yes, I'm talking about study and research in Germany. So mainly, first of all, why Germany? Some of you might not have decided yet that Germany will be your country of studies and research, and we'll give you some arguments why this should be your the country to do your studies and your research at. Some words about the work that DAAD does worldwide. Then your concrete way to a German university, and also the scholarship opportunities that DAAD offers, and some advantages also for coming back to Ghana after your studies, or coming back generally to your country. You have advantages even just because you studied in Germany. There are some advantages you have when you come back afterwards. So why Germany? The quality of German research and tuition has always been outstanding and is known as such worldwide. So a degree from Germany will always give you good entrance into any business worldwide, I would say. You see some researchers here, they're all German researchers, and especially when you're in the natural sciences, you might know one or two of them. They're also worldwide known as other researchers as well. Göttingen University, one of our 400 universities in Germany alone, has produced 44 Nobel laureates so far, and that is only one university. And some numbers of about Germany that are not always even known so far. Germany has the highest population in the European Union. Although it's not maybe the biggest country, but it has the highest population. And Germany is the second most popular country of immigration. At the moment, there's a lot happening, so it might even change to maybe even the first position, I'm quite sure. But not only for people generally, but also for students. We have 350,000 international students in Germany at our universities, which is a very high number, and it's getting more and more. So yes, as I said, the research and tuition is generally excellent. We do not recommend university when it comes to quality. Often we are asked to recommend where should I go, which university. You can rely on the quality at all the institutions. Of course, sometimes we recommend when it comes to specific subject areas, but then the quality you can really rely on at all the institutions. First-class services we have for international students at most or all the universities. They have international offices which are in charge of you before you come. So if you have questions about requirements or registering or anything before your studies start, and as well they're there for you when you are at the university to make sure that you get into the student life, also besides your studies, but also the administration that is necessary at the beginning of your studies. All the institutions offer a broad variety of subjects. You have a very good choice. Of course, mostly the courses are in German, but we have a very, very big choice as well of English taught programs. So that's also available. And the language depends very much on the course. You can study in English. There are courses entirely taught in English, and even to get the visa for those courses, you don't need any specific German knowledge. although we do recommend to have some basic knowledge. Some courses are in English and in German, then it depends a bit what level the university requires in German so far. And if you want to study in German, entirely in German, we'll also come to that, what requirements you need then. Generally, the costs of living in Germany are moderate in comparison to other European countries. And this is the only thing you have to spend, because you know that we generally don't have tuition fees in Germany, not for international students and as well not for German students. So what you have to spare, what you have to save is the living costs, and compared to other countries in the EU, they are quite moderate, depending also in which city you live, of course. DAAD is the German Academic Exchange Service. We do work worldwide in higher education, mainly in the cooperation, in the exchange. We give out scholarships to German students to go and study abroad, as well as to foreign students to come and study in Germany. The same exchange happens on researcher area, professors area, and also with whole institutions. We do also support cooperation between Ghanaian and German universities. We do represent the German universities outside, so that is also why we do not recommend, of course. We are working for the whole higher education system in Germany and promote that as such. And yeah, as you see, we have a worldwide network. You see in West Africa, not so many information centers. We are actually the only one in West Africa. The next is in Central Africa and Cameroon. Although we have more DAAD lecturers also representing in the countries. In Togo, Benin, in all of these countries we have a lecturer there. Just that we don't have an office as we have in Ghana, because in Ghana we have a lot of self-sponsored students. Every year there are a lot of students and researchers going, not only on scholarship basis but self-sponsored, and that's also one of the reasons why we have a center here and more information events than maybe in other countries. You see some numbers here, how many scholarships or how many people we have individually funded. Over the years since 1925, since DAAD was funded, 2 million scholars, and we are always proud also to say we are very much into the gender balance. We have funded 52% female scholarship holders in the last years. The three main goals of DAAD are those. Scholarships for the best, as I mentioned already. We do give out scholarships to Germans as well as foreigners. But of course for the best, it speaks for itself. We give out full scholarships mainly, which includes everything. That means, of course, that it should be the best students, not only regarding the marks, but also responsibility and so on. Expertise for academic collaborations means that the expertise we actually gain through our worldwide work, we also like to share and make more of, let's say. For example, I might be asked to say something about the Ghanaian higher education research and research system in Ghana, to give more information to the German universities who do not know anything, often not all of them, anything about the system here, and ask which universities are there and so on. And the other way around, we want to give information about the system, the research and study system in Germany and Ghana, so that really everyone can profit of it. And open door approaches means we are also working in the field of internationalization with German universities as well as foreign universities, which is a very big topic at the moment. Every university wants to internationalize and to be more open in that area of exchange, and also the view of the university worldwide. We have different types of universities in Germany. The general universities usually have very wide variety of subjects. They offer do award PhDs. In comparison, for example, to the universities of applied sciences, they usually don't give out PhDs. You do your bachelor's and master's. And then afterwards, of course, you can go to, you can change to a general university and also do your PhD. Universities of applied sciences are more practically oriented. Often you have a very good dual system, so you're very much connected to industry. So in subjects like engineering or natural sciences, it's good to actually be connected already during your studies, and those universities specialize in that. We have arts and music colleges. Those are specifically working in those areas. And we have private universities. It depends then on the subjects. With those ones, of course, you have to check. They might have tuition fees for their courses. Generally, the state universities don't have that. So it depends a bit, but the range of private universities compared to the private universities, the number of private universities compared to state universities is quite low. We don't have that many private institutions as state institutions. The program is mainly the same as you know it from Ghana. You do your bachelor's from 3 to 4 years, and then your master's 1 to 2 years, and then you can do your PhD after the 4 or 5 years you have done as I said, at one of the general universities. Although the system changes a bit because, well, it changes a bit. Some universities of applied sciences, 3 I think, can already award as well PhDs, and it's going to change also in the future, but for now we still have that distinguishing. So the international programs link, you can check international programs as it says. So those ones are taught in English, or at least partly in English. It's not all of those we have, but most of them. So if you want to see what's available in English, this is a very helpful link, DAAD.de/international programs. For bachelor, master, and PhD. So there are also structured PhD programs to be found on that link. There are some online programs available, and now in our databases you can also choose e-learning to see what's available. We are often asked for online courses, although you always have to have in mind that they might have some weekends or weeks where you have to be present at a university in Germany, although the rest is online, so you have to check if it's really a good option for you, because traveling to Germany for only 1 weekend is the same expensive, let's say, as to study for longer, because the flight costs are mainly very high. But there are online courses which are strictly online, short courses that might be of your interest. For requirements to apply to universities, we can only give you very general admission requirements, because the policy, even we have a federal policy, we have federal parts in Germany with their own policy. So universities are here and there quite autonomous in the requirements. So we can give you only the very general ones. For your bachelor's degree, you need your secondary school leaving certificate and 1 year of academic experience, I would say. So you don't have direct entry with a WASI certificate to do a bachelor's in Germany. I will come to that again, what you have to do then. With a bachelor, you can directly enter into a master's program, of course, and with a master's, you directly enter to a PhD program or to do your PhD otherwise. The language depends on the program. That's also on the university. They choose what language knowledge you have to show to get admission to a course. And they might have additional requirements like the GRE or the TestUS, which really also depends on the course. And you have to check if you have to do it. Most of them you can do in Ghana as well, like the TestUS. So as I said, we have quite a number of students also online, so I will go through all bachelor, master and PhD opportunities. For bachelor, you have to do Studienkolleg, which is the name for 2 semesters of preparatory courses for international students before you enter the bachelor's program. It's mandatory for Ghanaians who have a WASI before they enter the bachelor program. The second opportunity or possibility is to do 1 year of studies in Ghana and then enter the bachelor's program. It should be a relevant field, of course. So if you start your studies in biology, for example, and then you do biological engineering, for example, in Germany, that's possible. But you definitely need 1 year at a university before you can enter the bachelor's program. And the Studienkolleg is mainly for those who study in German then, because you need already, the Studienkolleg is in German, but if you want to do a bachelor's course that is in English, then you should start in Ghana, do 1 year of studies in Ghana, and then enter the bachelor's program in Germany. So this is what you have to have in mind if you want to do a bachelor's degree in Germany. Some of the universities might ask you to do your application through UniAssist. It's a platform, an agency where you actually upload your documents, your application documents, and then they will forward it to several universities in case you want to apply to various ones. You have to pay for that. The first one is 75 euros, and then every additional application is 15 euros. The thing is, if the university requires that, you have to do it. Then you have to do your the application through UniAssist. You can't just send it through another via email or so. If they are not listed with UniAssist, you can't even do it through it. So it depends on the course that you want to do. If they require UniAssist, you have to do it. And it's all possible. We have questions a lot about how to transfer the money and so on and so on. We had Ghanaians who did it, so it's definitely possible to apply through UniAssist, although it might be a bit more challenging than through email. One of these additional tests that I spoke of is the test AS. It's a standardized scholastic aptitude test. Some universities might require that. Yes, please. That one you can do in the Goethe Institute here in Accra. If you have to do it, it costs 80 euros, and you can still register until 16th January. The next one is in February. It has nothing to do with the language, though. It's asking some basic mathematical question, basic language question, basic other basic questions that are actually testing like the general knowledge. So it's not a language test per se. Now I'm stuck. Sorry. If you want to do your PhD, you have two ways of doing that generally. You have to choose between the traditional guidance model, meaning that you have one supervisor that you found directly. You are working with that person in the department, faculty, quite flexible. Or you apply to an international postgraduate program, meaning a structured PhD program. Then you apply usually to get admission, and when you get admission, you get a supervisor through the program. Both is possible and available. It depends a bit on the availability. Still, if you are doing research in one specific area and you don't find a perfect structured program, then you just can't do it. You have to do the traditional guidance model, but often it's also a question of taste, let's say, what you prefer. The acceptance by a supervisor is the first thing you have to work on anyway, either with scholarship or without, and we do not have lists to find a supervisor, like a list of supervisors who would be happy to have a Ghanaian PhD student. So you really have to do some research here. I'll present to you some links later how to find that, how to find faculties and professors doing research in your area easier, but you have to contact them, you have to get a supervisor and convince them of you and your work. But you have a good choice of doing that. There are a lot of research training groups organized by the DFG, which is the German Research Foundations. You have graduate schools and doctoral programs at the universities. You have the research institutes that are not directly connected to university, like the Max Planck Research School, Leibniz and Fraunhofer, where you can also do your research. And generally more than 600 structured programs that you can apply to. Those were citations from quotes from some students. As I said, it very much depends on your choice. If you want to choose the traditional guidance model, or you rather say you would like to apply for a structured program, it depends on your discipline. I see a difference between self-discipline, both of that, but that's also subjective. And also on the availability, if in your subject area you will actually find a program that is available. All the research facilities are well equipped and the staff is highly qualified. There are also the non-university research institutions, as I mentioned, 3 of the big ones already. And we can say that 25,000 doctoral students are awarded every year and receive their PhD, which is, compared to other countries, a very, very high number. So if you have to find a supervisor, you can use those 3 links. Those of you who are here present today, you also got a blue brochure. The links are inside. The DAAD.de Research Explorer is a great database which shows all the universities, and you can also find faculties working in your areas, and therefore find professors who work or do research in your area. The PhDGermany.de link also shows vacant PhD positions. If you are lucky, you even find a position that you get paid for and do your research for your PhD while. And the international programs link that I also spoke of before shows the structured programs that are entirely or partly taught in English for those who would like to apply for a structured program. Coming back to the language again, as I said, it depends on the school. If you need to show German proficiency proof, often they might even ask you for English proficiency test. Although Ghana is an English-speaking country, still a letter of your school from your first degree showing that you have done your first degree entirely in English might be required to show your proficiency in English as well, or the TOEFL or the IELTS test. But even if you study entirely in English, we would still recommend that you have basic knowledge in German, because you have to still know that the life in Germany is in German, although we all speak a bit of English, so you will never get lost. We do speak German everywhere, so to really get into the life, it's always better to have some German knowledge. Some information about German to also help you with that decision. We have 105 million people who speak German as their mother tongue worldwide, and 14.5 million people learning German already as a foreign language. At the moment it's increasing a lot. And in comparison to the other countries in the European Union, German is the secondly most spoken foreign language and the most spoken mother tongue. So there are even more mother tongue speakers of German than English in the European Union. And it's one of the 3 official languages of the European Union next to English and French. So even outside of Germany, still German is a very important language. So if you have the possibility to do your studies in Germany, then take the opportunity to also learn some German, even if you study in English. And it's one of the 10 most important mother tongues worldwide. There are some tests and programs available to do language classes and also the tests, the certificates. The Goethe Institute here in Accra, where we are today, least those who are present, is the Goethe Institute. They offer classes on all the levels, morning classes, intensive classes, also evening classes for those who work and want to do it after work. The test, DAAD test and the test AS test you can also do here in the center. And there is also an online course specifically for those who are not in Accra, who can't make it to those courses. It might be interesting. Deutsch Uni Online, you see the link here, is about online courses which are entirely online, but you pay for it, you get a tutor, you get material and everything, and you can really reach a level. So it's comparable. If you can't come to Accra or in anyhow can't make it to any class to sit down, this might be interesting. The Deutsche Welle, DW, also offers some free courses online, but we must say that those will not bring you to a level really to get a certificate. It will help you in addition or give you some insight, of course. Those are the levels. I might have mentioned some already. If you're not familiar with it, the A1 and A2 level you do, then you're a basic user. B1, B2 is the independent user, and proficient user is the C1. And just to give you an impression, if you want to study entirely in German, then you have to have the C1 level, which will definitely take some time and effort to reach before you can study in German. But I would always recommend to have an A1 level, for example. If you go to Germany, although you study in English, A1 gives you some basic knowledge about asking questions, answering questions about yourself, introducing yourself, some words that you need if you go to the doctor, for example. It's not easy to find perfectly speaking German, English speaking doctors in Germany, so it's always good to have some vocabulary also if you need to go. So those basic knowledge, this basic knowledge is always recommendable. To give you not an overview, but an idea about the prices and the times of the courses here at the Goethe Institute, you see here they have intensive courses 5 times a week, but also evening classes. And the next courses start on 9th of January, so quite well, in 1 month's time. The registration will start, I think, in December for those courses. This is an estimate that our office did, but it's quite the same as the German embassy actually quotes. What you have to calculate for living as a student in Germany generally. We really included everything, also recreation time and so on. But you have to calculate something between 700 and 750 euros to live as a normal student, let's say, including everything. We have something to offer as well besides your studies, of course. We will definitely have a lot of opportunities as international students. As I said, the international office helps, and they have a lot of offers as well to get you into the cultural life besides your studies and research. We have 10,705 public and research libraries, which is not impressive only for your research, but also for your private life. You can rent videos, DVDs, books, and everything. Every city even has a city library, and then in addition, universities have a lot of libraries, so that there you have a good choice. We have 4,500 cinemas, public theaters, museums, and all that. So a lot of cultural activities available. I always like to say that because in winter, for example, compared to Ghana, you can't do things outside. It's just too cold. So that's why we have a lot of activities offered inside, like cinema and theater and so on, because at some parts of the year you just not, you won't be outside really. Yeah. For the visa, if you want to apply for a study visa, you have to have mainly 2 things. First of all, you have to have admission to a German university, so the letter. A scan is fine. You don't have to wait until the hard copy is here, but you can also use the soft copy already of the admission. And secondly, you need a proof of sufficient financial resource, which means that you have to show that you have 720 euros per month for the first 12 months. you only get a visa for the first year. Even if you study 2 years, you will always only get first 1 year. If you show that you have the financial means to live as a student for the whole year. You don't pay that to anyone. You have to pay it into a blocked account, and this is how the state makes sure that every month you get a maximum of 720 euros of your own money, but then you definitely have enough money until the end of the year. And this has to be paid before you go to Germany, otherwise you don't get the visa. So it sounds a lot, 8,640 euros, but at the end it's still your money, and you don't have to worry about money for the first year then. So it sounds a lot, still don't be too shocked. Right now the system is changing. The German embassy here in Accra has discussed with EcoBank that you can now book a blocked account with EcoBank here, because there were some problems in former times with the Deutsche Bank when you had to open that blocked account in Germany. So now you have actually the opportunity to do that specific blocked account through EcoBank in Ghana, which will allow you to get the visa. And just good to know is that with a student visa you can work. You are allowed to do 120 days per year or 240 half days per year. So if you need to spend more than the 720 per month, or you want to save up already for the second year, you have the possibility to do that. And generally, you have very good opportunities to get a student job. It's very common in Germany that students, that there are jobs available for students on a basis of maybe 400 euros without paying tax for it. Of course, the language gives you an advantage here. Often jobs are only available for those who speak German, but there are some jobs available as well on the basis of student job where you don't necessarily need it. Often students like clean cinemas at night or work in the supermarket or things like this where you don't necessarily need the German, but it's very well paid for students. So for the visa interview, you need your admission letter, you need the proof of sufficient support financially, and of course if you have a full scholarship you don't need to show any proof of financial means, well not any, but at least not the 8,000 euros. And you should be aware that it's an interview, so you have to convince the embassy that you're actually going to study. They will ask you questions like how, why do you want to study in Germany, why this specific university and this specific course. You should know can't hear me, sorry. Right. All right. So the scholarships on master's level, they're not open to all areas. So you really have to check which programs are available and then apply to them directly. One program that we have is the development-related postgraduate courses. Those are courses in these areas. It's coming. It's quite a range of areas actually, from business administration through engineering, agriculture. It's really not going. Okay. Economic sciences, development cooperation, engineering, mathematics, and also regional planning, agricultural sciences, environmental sciences, some in medicine, public health, and sociology and education and media studies. You see our main link up here, funding-guide.de. This is the database for all our scholarships. So everything I say today about the scholarships you can find online again through the funding-guide.de link. Those who are here, you also find the link in the brochure, in the blue one. So also this one, the name is Development-Related Postgraduate Courses. You will find online. The requirements are a relevant bachelor's degree, and it should be second upper or above for the scholarship. And for this program specifically, you also need to show professional experience, relevant. You can also count your national service in, for example, or some internships you did. You can count it all together, but it should be in a relevant field, of course. If you did your national service as an English teacher, but now you want to do engineering, it's not really necessarily a related field. But also internships and so on count. Your most recent academic degree should not be older than 6 years. That's for all scholarship programs. We do not have an age limit, but your last degree can't be older than 6 years. Yeah, to apply for a scholarship, not to admission. Of course, you can always study in Germany, but then to apply for scholarships, it can't be older than 6 years. And for this master programs here, you have to directly send the application to the university, not to our office. It goes to the university, you send the application form and also the form for the scholarship directly to the university. And therefore the deadline also depends on the university. If you are interested in that, you can find the programs on funding-guide.de. Another master's program that we offer is in the field of public policy and good governance. The objectives, well, it's for future leaders in politics, law, economics, and administration, always according to the principles of good governance. You do also have to have a bachelor's degree, second upper or above. And very important for that program is a motivational letter stating also the profits or the outcome of the program that you wish to have and bring back to your country, for example. A knowledge of German is an advantage for these programs, but it's not a requirement. And the same thing, your most academic degree should not be older than 6 years. The universities that are part of this PPGD program or Helmut Schmidt program, you can see here it's 8 universities who take part. Also for that one, you send the applications directly to the universities. We have a specific in-country scholarship program here in Ghana at the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana in Legon, ISA. This is in the area of development studies. So if you want to do your PhD in development studies, you have the possibility to apply for that program and get a scholarship within Ghana to do that PhD. But it has to be at ISA, and check the website in case you want to find out what areas they are working in and if you might be, if that might fit your research area. To apply for a DAAD PhD scholarships, there are some variation. You have several programs available. We have regular PhDs, which means you apply for your PhD to do it 3 years, a full PhD at one German university with a German supervisor. We have a graduate school scholarship program where you directly apply to those schools on the list, and if you get admission, then you can also apply for the scholarship. We have binationally supervised PhD training. We call it sandwich program, meaning that you do your PhD in a Ghanaian university with a Ghanaian professor, and then you have long study visits. You can go to a German university with a second German supervisor to profit from both. But then your main PhD award will be awarded at the Ghanaian university. Same thing, you need the bachelor's degree, second class upper, and also the master's degree, same thing. And your most academic degree shouldn't be older than 6 years. This application goes through our portal, the DAAD portal. You have to do the online application for the PhD before the 31st of October. That's the general deadline for the PhD programs or any other research grants that we give out. We also have research grants, short-term or long-term. For example, if you do your PhD and you want to apply for a 6-month or a 3-month research stay at a university, it's also possible, but you always have to have a professor at a German university inviting you. Specifically in Ghana, we have our governmental program, which is also to do your PhD at a German university. It's specifically meant for lecturers at Ghanaian higher education institutions, mainly the state universities, or state institutions of higher education. We do co-fund that program. The main funding comes from the Ministry of Education. We have an MOU for that program. Every year we send 20 PhD candidates to Germany under that program. So if you are a lecturer at a university in Ghana, this program is of high interest for you because the chance, of course, is very high just because you are a lecturer. This is the main focus of this program. The deadline is always around August every year, and the application goes through the scholarship secretariat before it is coming to us. So even also if you have questions, you can always ask the scholarship secretariat or our office. I mentioned it before, we also have the graduate school scholarship program, mainly during your PhD as well. There's a list of universities who take part, and if you want to apply to one of those, to one of their programs, you can do that, and if you get admission, then you can apply for the scholarship. You will find the list of schools on our website. I will show our website at the end again. If you are a professor, a lecturer at the university here already, and you just have a research project that you want to do with a German university, you can apply for a research stay for universities, academics, and scientists up to 3 months. Also the same structure, you need an institution or a professor who invites you to do that research. You have 2 deadlines in the year, 1st of October to go in the summer semester and 1st of April to go in the winter semester. There are some specific scholarships available as well. For example, for artists, we have some master or PhD programs in fine art, design, film, and music. We usually don't go into detail here because they are very specific, but you will find them online. Study visits are available if you and some students of your course here and your professor want to travel to Germany and get to know one of the universities. Your professor can actually apply for a study visit up to 2 weeks. And the now you can even receive the travel funds for that. So if you are a group of students of maximum 10 or 12 students and you would like to go to a German university to get to know the university and some specific course maybe, your professor together with you can apply for that online. That is possible, up to 2 weeks only though. Yes. So as I said, through the funding-guide.de link, You find all the scholarships that I spoke of today and even more. We also have some scholarships of other institutions in that database. They are very specific but might also be of your interest, so still go through that link to find more information about the scholarships. This is a picture of scholarship holders of that governmental program. We try to sometimes also organize ceremonies where we hand in the awards for the scholarships to the students, and then we invite someone. You see him in the back. This is Mr. Abels from the German Embassy, and here is also the teacher in front, because for that program you actually have a German course included here at the Goethe Institute. She was the teacher for them. To give you an impression, 2015 we have sponsored 402 Ghanaians and 145 Germans to go to the other country respectively to do research or your studies. Worldwide, we can say it's a 50-50 balance actually. I've not mentioned from specific institutions. But I would also like to say again, please don't forget about the self-sponsored possibility. We do not have tuition fees in Germany, and the 8,600 euros sounds a lot, but we had cases, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have it yourself. If you have 3 sponsors, if you have 2 uncles and then your boss or you yourself have a part, and then maybe some family members can bring the rest, it's possible. Yeah? It doesn't necessarily have to come from yourself in one in one. So please don't forget about this, because generally without the tuition fee it's still quite cheap in comparison to other countries where we have to pay a lot of tuition fees to study in Germany. Of course, there are also Ghanaian funding opportunities. You know them, I'm sure you know them. And if you have a specific course that is of your interest, then also check with the university. Sometimes the universities give out part scholarships as well for their own programs. There's no list or anything from that. You really have to see online. And if you can afford, for example, the first year, but you have no idea how to do the second year, then still do it, because often there's the possibility, if you're one of the best students, then you can apply for a partly scholarship at the university later on. So you might get some funding afterwards because you have been the best, or whatever requirements they have. There are sometimes possibilities when you reach Germany that you can still apply and maybe profit from the second year of the studies, or third or fourth year. Our office has a YouTube channel. Since now we are doing webinars quite regularly. We record them and then put them online, so you can also go through again, and you can also go through those that we have done before. For example, we had done a video already on the Studienkolleg, so in case you want to do your bachelor's degree, you could go through that webinar again. It might give you helpful information. We have done a video on specialization for medical doctors, in case here's one today that would like to do the specialization in the medical field. We have some videos available. It's not a webinar, on studying bachelor, master and PhD. And we had 3 webinars in the summer where 3 universities have actually introduced themselves to Ghanaian students and the programs that they have. We will organize that again next year, but the former ones you can also find on our YouTube channel. Actually, if you go to YouTube and just say DAAD Information Center Accra, you will find our videos. We have a Facebook page. If you are on Facebook, then just like our page, then you will always be updated whenever we do something in Ghana. We have an event here, we post that on Facebook. Sometimes we link up information from German universities or so on. So if you have an account, then just like our page and you'll be updated. And specifically in December, we have actually a series of webinars, and I'd just like to mention them to you. Maybe you're even interested in one more. On the 5th December, we will have a webinar, an alumni webinar on climate change, mainly for alumni. It will also show what possibilities for alumni there are, but we also have a presentation on climate change generally, so if you're in that field, you might be interested to join the webinar. On the 12th December, we have a webinar on alternative sources of income and personal finance. Same thing, it's also for alumni, but we have a presentation from someone from the field. And might be interesting for those who want to apply for one of the programs. If you have to write a motivational letter, we are often asked how to do it best. So we will have a webinar on how to write a letter of motivation to give you some structure that might be helpful to actually write that motivation letter for your application. On our website you find all the links again and generally all the info that I gave you today. That is the DAAD-Ghana.org. We also have a download section where you can find some of the scholarship lists already and some other documents. As I said, we record our webinar, so even today's webinar we will also put on the YouTube channel in case you want to repeat it somehow, maybe also for those who are online outside and who have not had the video, the audio for the whole time. The last slide I told you already is about the advantages you have after your studies coming back from Germany. Just because you have studied in Germany, there are even opportunities you can apply for afterwards. For example, through SIM, which is the Center for International Migration and Development from the GIZ. They have a returning expert program. For example, if you come back with your master's degree from Germany and you don't find an adequate position, but you find a position in a company, but you're not well paid or almost not at all, you can still take that job and apply for the returning expert program. Then they might top up your salaries to make sure that you still get into the system and might maybe climb the ladder afterwards, but they top up your salary just because you have studied in Germany before. The Alumni Portal Deutschland, you should always register with it. That's also the link down on the slide. It's a very great network with all those who have done studies or lived in Germany or worked in Germany to stay in contact. Often you have people working in the same areas that you do, and it might be easier to find back to Ghana after your studies if you have contacts to those. If you are DAAD alumni, there are even more opportunities. If you had a scholarship before, even after coming back, you have opportunities to organize a workshop yourself and then apply for money to do that workshop and so on. So there are quite a lot of opportunities afterwards when you come back. This is our contact details. You can contact us via email, via telephone, WhatsApp, Facebook, all of it. We have an SMS service. You see how to register here. For example, when we do events in Ghana, we sometimes go outside to other cities, to other universities, Takrady, or Takrady doesn't have a university, but Cape Coast, Tamale, and so on, and we send it through our text message service as well. We have consultation hours here on Mondays and Friday afternoon in our office. If after today you have applied to some university and you still have some issues, some questions, you can always contact us then. Until the end of the year, so only 2 weeks left, we also do consultation on Thursday mornings at the German Embassy. We actually won't do that anymore in the next year, but then the Thursday morning will also be available here in our office for consultation, personal consultation. So this is actually all for today. If you have any questions now, then we are still here and available. Thank you for your attention. As I mentioned before, those who are online, please type in your questions. We will try to answer them then as well. But first of all, I would like to ask if anyone here has questions on the presentation. Do we have any questions already? Should I put the camera on again? Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the camera then. Okay, we had questions online from Prince Dankwa. What are the options to prove financial resources for studies in Germany? Okay, so as I said, you have to prove your financial resources to the German embassy. There are several opportunities. If you have a sponsor in Germany, I haven't mentioned that before, I should do, then this person actually has to fill in the obligation form that is available. And if this is approved by the German state, then you don't have to pay in anything into the account. Then this person will vouch for you in Germany. If you have a sponsor in Ghana, you will bring the person to the interview, and the person has to bring everything that shows that they have the money to support you, and on top to support themselves, of course. If they only have 8,000 euros in their account and nothing more, then it's not convinced. Then they will not be convinced. So it has to be reasonable. You have to convince the embassy that you have enough money. If you yourself have the 8,000 euros and a bit more, that will be fine. But if your sponsor is your uncle, for example, and the uncle has 8,000 euros plus much more money in his account, it's reasonable that the person can pay the 8,000 for you and still live for himself and the family. Yeah? So it really has to be reasonable at the interview time. And then after the interview, you will actually be asked to to really pay in the exact amount. The exact amount. I hope we can solve that afterwards. We have a mailing list, for example, where we have email addresses
Since you're coming from Ghana, and we also allow that right just using your English proficiency from the school, from the university.
It also depends. I would say if they ask for TOEFL, they might be very specific and really want the TOEFL. Use the international offices. Yeah? If you're not exactly sure, ask the international office, please, I want to apply for that program. Is it okay if I send the letter of my school to prove my English proficiency instead of the TOEFL? They will tell you yes or no. Mostly it's enough to show that, but I would, if I was you, I would still make sure that they don't want the TOEFL exactly. Yeah. Any other question? If not, then I would thank you all for your attention, also at home. Thank you for listening. We have recorded the webinar today, so if you want to go through it again, you will find it on our YouTube channel. And if you have any more questions, you have our contact details now. So thank you very much for listening, and keep in touch. Now we have to